The M-1 Abrams main battle tank is the primary tank in use by the U.S. Army and many Allied countries. It is designed to offer mobile firepower as part of an armored formation. The M-1 Abrams is named after General Creighton Williams Abrams, who was commander of the 37th Armored Battalion and became Chief of Staff in the U.S. Army from 1972, before his death 2 years later. The M-1 Abrams was developed in the 1970s by Chrysler Defense, later purchased by General Dynamics Land Systems Division. The first M-1 tank was produced in 1978. It was first used in 1980 by the U.S. Army. Since 1985, the design of the M-1 Abrams has been modified and improved to form the M-1A1 and the M-1A2 battle tanks. The M-1A1 added better armor, featuring a depleted uranium mesh, improved weaponry and a chemical, biological, radiological and nuclear protection system. The M-1A1D is a digitized variant of the M-1A1, which adds a digital applique command and control package offering improved situational awareness. The M-1A2 added a thermal viewer and weapon station and additional navigational and communications equipment. The U.S. Army has been working to upgrade its old M-1 tanks to the new M-1A2 configuration, as well as adding further upgrades and improvement. In Iraq, from 2003, Abrams tanks and other combat vehicles were given combat identification panels to help in preventing friendly fire. The main weapons for the original M1 battle tanks were 105mm M68A1 rifled cannons. These were upgraded for the M1A1 and M1A2 designs to 120mm M256 smooth-bore cannons. The 105mm cannons use kinetic energy cartridges containing alloy-depleted uranium. The smooth-bore cannons can accept a range of kinetic energy and high-explosive anti-tank rounds. All tank designs also feature a 12.7mm .50 caliber M2 machine gun and two 7.62mm M240 medium machine guns. Since 2003, some Abrams crews have also carried shoulder-fired anti-tank rockets for use in enclosed urban areas. Chobham armor. The M1 Abrams uses Chobham armor, a composite of ceramic tiles and steel plating developed at the British Tank Research Centre on Chobham Common. The armor is highly effective against high-explosive anti-tank rounds. Its composition is a well-guarded secret. The Abrams also features a strong Kevlar liner and optional reactive armor, which offers protection against shaped charges and rod penetrators. Some tanks also feature a missile countermeasure device, which can jam missile guidance systems. The basic M1 weighs 60 tons, with a length of 384.5 inches. The M1A1 and M1A2 have weights of 63 and 69.4 tons respectively, with a length of 387 inches. The maximum speeds of the Abrams tanks are 45 miles per hour for the M1, and 42 miles per hour for the M1A1 and M1A2. However, the actual cross-country speed is closer to 30 miles per hour. This speed is further reduced on angled surfaces to around 20 miles per hour, 17 miles per hour for the heavier M1A2, up a 10% incline, and 4.5 miles per hour, 4.1 miles per hour for the M1A2, up a 60% incline. After its initial deployment in 1980, the Abrams was used in training for the Cold War. However, the unit was not used in combat until the Gulf War in 1991. The superior range 4,000 meters of the Abrams weaponry made the tanks highly effective against the opposing Soviet and Iraqi tanks. 1,841 units were deployed to Saudi Arabia in Operation Desert Storm, with only 23 leaving service in the Gulf campaign. Some of these tanks were lost due to enemy fire, land mines and internal fires. Others were lost to friendly fire, or deliberately destroyed by the U.S. after being trapped behind enemy lines. None of the lost tanks led to the death of crew to Iraqi fire during Operation Desert Storm. The Abrams saw more action in Iraq in 2003. Again, the tanks proved highly effective and no Abrams crew members were killed during the invasion of Iraq, Operation Iraqi Freedom. This was partly the result of superior U.S. air support. However, since the initial conflict there have been a number of deaths due to an anti-tank mine, a failing bridge leading to the drowning of the crew, improvised explosive devices, roadside bombs and sniper attacks on exposed crewmen.